have seen some things come out about Oprah, and some of them have been extremely disturbing. One of them being that she was friends with Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
This is what so many people don't understand. A big part of the confusion and shame for child victims is that the attention and the seduction from the predator, who is probably gonna be somebody you know.
Oprah tweets, "Just got a phone call that my name is trending and being trolled for some awful fake thing. It's not true. Haven't been raided or arrested. Just sanitizing and self-distancing with the rest of the world. Stay safe, everybody."
People are saying that I was not supporting Taraji. Taraji will tell you herself that I've been the greatest champion of this film, championing not only the behind-the-scenes production, but also everything that everybody needed.
Oprah Winfrey was one of the biggest names in Hollywood back in the 90s thanks to her talk show, and today she's one of the most powerful people in the industry. But what sets her apart from other media moguls has always been her loving image. Now, celebrities are coming out to talk about the abuse they've suffered at her hands, changing our perception of one of the most beloved stars ever. The name Oprah Winfrey is a brand in itself, and the woman is one of the most beloved people in Hollywood. There was a time no afternoon was complete without the whole family tuning in to the Oprah Winfrey Show, and she has had pretty much every single big name ever sitting opposite her.
I'm Oprah Winfrey, and welcome to the very first National Oprah Winfrey Show! People believe that what I, stand for, what the show stands for, is for goodness and light.
Of course, there are certain moments where she herself has said that she regretted letting it happen.
The media mogul's been saying it from day one, but as she explains on the Jamie Kern Lima show, Oprah's still haunted by the time she didn't live up to that promise.
The producers were so proud of themselves that they had the wife and the girlfriend on at the same time, and they had agreed to come on national television live, and said to his wife, "She's pregnant." Well, what you don't know is she's pregnant. And the audience gasped. I gasped. I was so hurt, and to this day, it is one of the most shameful things I was ever a part of.
Fans might remember the series featuring plenty of shocking stories before signing off in 2011.
Why would you lie? Why do you have to lie about the time you spent in jail? Why did you do that? I have never been prouder of the work that we have done. Never have I ever been prouder to work with a group of people, because I think that what we do is some of the best that television has to offer on a daily basis.
Nobody should ever be in a position to ever be humiliated in my name.
But overall, she has always poised herself as a force for good and someone who only wants to help people.
Oprah now calling the infamous episode a watershed moment in her show's history.
I was so hurt, and to this day, it is one of the most shameful things I was ever a part of. And I said to my producers afterwards, this will never happen to me or this show again. We're not doing this. And they were like, okay, so we won't do that. So what are we gonna do? So we're gonna sit down and we're gonna figure out literally how we can use this show as a force for good.
The Oprah Show doing all that and more across 25 seasons, setting up the TV host for her current title as the Queen of All Media.
Oh yeah, well, you can have conflict, and you can have drama, and you can have struggle, you can have all those things. But the heart of what we're doing has to come from a space that you want to shine the light and not bring darkness into anybody's space.
Maya Angelou used to say this to me, that one of my greatest gifts was that I was obedient to the call. So the call to understand that, oh gee, I was meant to be more than just a reporter. I was meant to be more than just on TV. It was meant to be more than just have a talk show, but to use that as a force for good in the world.
And there was a time when the world believed it, until some people started speaking out about what she really does behind doors. Let's start with the most obvious issue. Oprah was a very close friend of Harvey Weinstein. They'd worked together for decades on several films before his downfall. He's one of the most infamous Hollywood abusers, with over 90 women coming out to say they'd been sexually assaulted by him. Harvey Weinstein. More than 90 women, including McGowan, have come forward to accuse the once powerful movie mogul of acts ranging from sexual misconduct to rape.
This is an international list. okay?
But even as the rest of the world turned their back against him, Oprah avoided saying anything bad about him.
Apparently really avoids saying anything against him, which leaves me really suspicious because I feel like even if you were friends with him, when all this stuff came out, you would think that she would like shut it down and share how she feels about him because there's so many pictures of her with him.
The few times she did talk about his scandal, she just skirted around the topic and tried to move the conversation towards how this was a watershed moment rather than actually holding her friend accountable.
When it comes down to people like Harvey Weinstein that she's been photographed with on numerous occasions, a lot of people are like, why won't you speak up against him? And the one time she ever did address anything about it, she really skirted around the question.
Let's talk about what's happening with Harvey Weinstein. I know you posted on Facebook already, but you haven't kind of spoken yet publicly about what's going on.
Yeah, I'm always trying to look for the rainbow in the cloud, the whatever is the silver lining. And this is what I do know for sure. When something this major happens, when you have the fallout, 50 women coming forward, that it's a watershed moment. And what I do believe is actually happening. First of all, it's triggering a lot of unreleased pain, repressed anger, guilt, and suffering that a lot of women have had. If we make this just about Harvey Weinstein, then we will have lost this moment.
She even made a big speech about women in Hollywood speaking up against sexual assault without even mentioning his name.
For too long, women have not been heard or believed if they dared to speak their truth to the power of those men. But their time is up. Me too.
3 days after Oprah publicly supported victims of sexual assault in the wake of numerous allegations against Harvey Weinstein.
And the first celebrity to call her out for the speech was Seal, who pointed out that she had been part of the problem for decades and now was acting like she was a champion for women's rights.
As some are calling for Oprah Winfrey to run for president, singer Seal is lashing out by writing that she's been part of the problem when referring to the allegations of sexual assault against Harvey Weinstein. He posted a meme of the former talk show host on Instagram with Harvey Weinstein along with the text, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." The Kiss from a Rose singer captioned his post writing, "Oh, I forgot, that's right. You'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serially assaulting young starry-eyed actresses who in turn had no idea what they were getting into. My bad."
The part about assault is particularly harrowing because Oprah has alleged that she has been sexually assaulted in the past as well.
Oprah went through some really difficult things as a child. She got pregnant at 14 by her uncle.
When I was 14 years old, I became pregnant and hid the pregnancy for 7 months until the baby was born. And I say the baby because I was so disassociated and still do feel such a disassociation. I never felt like it was my baby.
And then she ended up losing the baby because he was born prematurely.
She even talked about it in her book and had multiple interviews about what she had gone through.
She, grabbed a switch and I got a really bad whipping for it. And later, when I put on my clothes to go to church, one of the welts from my back opened up and bloodied the dress. So my grandfather gets out of bed and comes into the room, and I wake up and he has his hands around my grandmother's neck. And she is screaming, Erlis, get off of me, Erlis, get away. And she's trying to force him off.
Except her cousin alleged that she was lying. Her cousin said that she lied about being sexually assaulted and growing up in filth. She said it was all a ploy to advance her career. Her cousin claims that when asked why she had lied, Oprah replied, "Because that's what people want to hear," and that her abuse story helped make me what I am today. So, if true, this is a terrible thing to do since she is someone whose platform multiple people have used to speak up about the things they have gone through. One example is Lady Gaga opening up about being sexually assaulted as a teenager on her show.
I was raped repeatedly when I was 19 years old. And I also developed PTSD And
As a result of the rape?
As a result of being raped. And also not processing that trauma. I did not have anyone help me. I did not have a therapist. I did not have a psychiatrist. I did not have a doctor help me through it. I just all of a sudden became a star and was traveling the world, going from hotel room to garage to limo to stage.
So, to lie about topics as serious as these when she became the face of hope for an entire generation of girls makes her a terrible person. People also pointed out the weird and insensitive way she talked about child molestation.
This is what so many people don't understand. A big part of the confusion and shame for child victims is that the attention and the seduction from the predator, who is probably gonna be somebody you know.
Right.
In order for it to work, it has to be somebody you know, somebody you admire, somebody you respect, or maybe even love. And it feels good. I mean, if you're 7 years old and somebody, which I was trying to say this to my friends who had children, you're 7 years old and someone is stroking your, it feels good.
Right.
Even though you don't have a name for what that is, it feels good.
She also once bullied the Olsen twins when they were on her show. She kept lumping them into the Olsen twin image, despite them saying they wanted to be known as individual people. She even tried to get them to talk about how much money they have and asked whether people at school ask them for loans, despite them seeming very uncomfortable. The worst part came when she brought up their size. This was at a time when tabloids were already hounding Mary-Kate and claiming that she had an eating disorder.
You know, there was this whole thing back then where tabloids and stuff kept exploiting Mary-Kate and talking about how she had an eating disorder, this, that, and the other. And it was like a big, huge thing back then. And the tabloids were so mean about her. It was awful. The tabloids back then were the most toxic thing. You know, Oprah has always just come off as like this sweet, understanding woman, and you have these two kids sitting on your couch. They were 17 at the time, and if they are struggling with an eating disorder in this moment, the last thing you should ever ask them should be, what size are you?
Rather than glazing over the issue and making them comfortable, she straight up asked them what size they were.
It's a weird
You're 5'1"?
like 5'1".
5'1", okay. You know, there's a new rumor that's recently surfaced, has really upset you, right? You know, the one about eating.
Yeah, you know, we try not to read the good or the bad because it just kind of comes with the territory. You know, fat, you're too skinny, and people are just going to write what they
What size are you, by the way?
size.
Yeah, I always like
I'm
to
really
know.
short.
You're not sure?
Girls, and
Oh,
you know.
that's so interesting. That is so interesting. I'm like obsessed with size, and you're like, I really don't know.
Another celebrity that has been bullied by Oprah is Taraji P. Henson, and this is a more recent case. Recently, Taraji broke down in an interview and said that she was considering quitting Hollywood over unequal pay.
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over.
Taraji P. Henson's brutally honest and emotional explanation of Hollywood's pay disparity is going viral.
I hear people go, you work a lot. Well, have to. The math ain't mathin'. Big bills come with what we do. We don't do this alone. The fact that we're up, here's a whole entire team behind us. They have to get paid.
Taraji talked about how she had to work very hard because even if she gets paid an amount that seems high to outsiders, she still has an entire team to take care of. Now get this, the latest movie she worked on was The Color Purple, and it was produced by none other than Oprah Winfrey. Of course, Oprah was quick to say that she had no bad blood with Taraji.
This movie was important because it created a space and roles for a group of black women.
Yes, and I would just like to say about this whole Taraji, you know, I heard I was trending yesterday because people were saying that I was not supporting Taraji. Taraji will tell you herself that I've been the greatest champion of this film, championing not only the behind-the-scenes production, but also everything that everybody needed. So whenever I heard that there was something that people needed, I'm not in charge of the budget because that's Warner Brothers. You know, that's the way the studio system works. And we as producers, everybody gets their salary. That's negotiated by your team. And so whenever I heard there was an issue or there was a problem with the cars or there was a problem with the food, I would step in and do whatever I could to make it right. And I believe that she would even vouch for that and say that it's true.
I think she would vouch for that. I can vouch for that because I've seen you and your work and behind the scenes, how you step in and you have put your own money up.
I'm all for everybody being the greatest and rising to meet the rising of their own life. And so, I mean, all this stuff about there was something online about us being separated at the top of the Empire State Building. On that particular day, we were so cold. So I don't know what kind of body language people were talking about. I was just trying to stay warm, and that was the fourth thing we had done. And so there's no validity to there being a thing between Taraji and I.
But can we really take her for her word? Because this incident is one in a long line of others that tell us that Oprah Winfrey is not what she seems. That's it for now. Don't forget to tell us what you think in the comments below. For more updates, hit the bell icon.